make sure I'm well timing the mute if I do have to cough, but well hydrated here with some water. And wonderful to be connecting with you all on both Facebook and YouTube. This is a wonderful platform, and it's a great opportunity that Richard presents us as hosts to connect with you, like-minded folks. We'll be giving people that ask me questions tonight opportunity for a psychic reading or a spiritualist reading, where I give you evidence of a communicator. If you would not like a reading and you ask me a question, please make it clear that you don't want me to read for you. Otherwise, the working assumption is you ask a question, you're happy for us to read your question, for me to answer it live on air this evening and give you a reading. Now, I spoke about this being 100% free, folks, and it is. It's a wonderful community. If you're on YouTube, you can click on the share button. Make sure that you've liked to subscribe to Spiritual Psychic TV, and then you can share this across all of your socials. That's very much appreciated. If you're on Facebook, you can share this. You can tag this with your friends. You can share it to your pages or your groups or on your wall. Let people know that you're watching this live. And of course, people can watch it back on playback. We're always pleased to see people come back and watch the show. I think it sort of doubles and sometimes triples the amount of views of people watching the show. We get lots of feedback to say that people sometimes put this on while they're doing the washing up and they're listening to the different subjects. And for those of you that join us, of course, it's our opportunity to answer your questions live. No guest this evening, folks. It's me. I'm Ashley Robinson. For those that don't know me, I'm a spiritualist medium based in South London in the United Kingdom. I'm an ordained minister of religion at Women of Spiritualist Church and our sister church at Hatbridge. And I'm trained as a minister and a minister counsellor with the United Spiritualists Fellowship. And been presenting on this show now for about 5 years. And otherwise, it's all over to you. So we can test to see if this works. Every time you make a comment, Richard, our producer, will give me the opportunity to see some of those questions as they come in. I can see that my dad is watching this evening, very likely with my mum. She sometimes says to me she gets upset when my dad doesn't mention it's mum and dad, but I know you're there. So Reverend Pidgey 589 on YouTube joins us. Good evening to you as well. Patricia Chi, hiya. Laura Grant joins us from Canada. Hiya, Laura Grant. And Mr. Phil Shaw had the opportunity to do a double demonstration of mediumship and transfiguration, an experimental afternoon of transfiguration last Sunday at Women's Spiritualist Church. Chris Pillay says, hello, Richard, Ash and friends, love from South Africa. Well, from South London, that love is very much received and sent back to you all in South Africa. Maribel Rodriguez, hello from Laredo, Texas. Never actually been to Laredo, did spend some time in Houston. Do have a baseball cap from the US Border Patrol in Laredo. Nick Loran, good evening to you. Welcome. Carrie Ann Marshall Kearns, hello. Hello to you, Carrie Ann. Good evening. Jan Jeffrey, hello. Thank you for saying hello to everybody. Julie Frail. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation of that, Julie. Good evening to you, my friend. Leslie Moulton. Hiya, Leslie. The Reverend Leslie Moulton, one of our principal tutors of spiritual healing. Lorraine Morris, hello, newbie. Welcome, newbie. A special welcome to everyone joining the show for the first time, and thank you for those who have come back. Taff Grummet, good evening to you. Thanks for saying hi to everybody, sending that love. Tara Bradshaw, hi. It's like, is that a Peachy Hearts and Angel Wings? Thank you, Tara. We won't be able to necessarily name everybody, and that'll be very much the theme of the evening. Line, good evening to you. If I don't specifically mention your name, it doesn't mean that your comments not come through. Elizabeth Jones, hi from South Wales. Hi, Elizabeth. And we will try and get to as many of your comments and questions over the next 50 minutes or so. Mary Dixie, good evening to me and Richard. Hi, Mary. It's nice to see you on Sunday as well at church. Julie Coffrey, anything for me? No doubt there will be, Julie, but we're not just doing mediumship and readings tonight. We're doing questions. So, Julie, get your questions in. You can ask me anything spiritual. There's a couple of things I'm going to share with people in a minute, which might inspire you. We've got friends from Illinois, USA. I hope everyone is doing well. Hi, Elisa. And then we'll be able to do a reading for you afterwards. Jodie Jenkins, hiya. Love the green hearts. So one of the books, philosophy I'm going to share today is a spiritual guide called Zodiac, and another one called White Eagle. Claire Edgar, good evening to you. And there's a book by White Eagle Publishing, Double Trouble at Home, says Luke. Hi, Luke. And I'm going to share a couple of teachings from White Eagle tonight. Michelle Oliver says hello from Alberta, Canada. Hi, Michelle. Greetings from Cape Town, another fellow South African, Mario Thomas. Hello. Good evening to you. We'll do a couple more hellos, folks. Shian, good evening to you. Vicky, nice rainbow there. There's some waving. Hello, Vicky. Lovely to see you. Tracy Tuck, good evening to you. Claire Edgar, hello. Lisa says that she lost her daughter end of April. Did anyone hurt her or was it an accident? Lisa, thank you very much for your question. I'm going to have a go at answering this, as I have a communicator with me. Ordinarily, I'd say I'm unable to answer questions like this. And as a spiritualist medium, I'm not a DJ. I can't take specific requests for specific communicators. But I have a communicator with me, Lisa, that is a man. This man claims to know you. This man describes himself as about 5'10", 5'11" in height. He shows himself with it was like a yellow metal round glasses wearing across his face. He's got about 70% balding head, short back and sides, dark to almost like silver fox, short back and sides. The little bit of hair he does have is being cut and trimmed. This man claims to know you. He says his family. He was a father, grandfather. He's telling him about a sibling. He's a brother. He was an uncle. He gives me the letter S. I feel like the S would be important to you. So between this man that claims to know you as family, he also says he's taken me over to his left-hand side of his body around his heart. It would have passed with either heart failure, a heart impact around his heart attack, something like that. It says he knows you. He's given that letter S. He says the letter S is significant, Lisa, that you would understand why he's given me the letter S between you and him. He's given me an anniversary of just after winter. I'm into January, maybe even in the start of February. And he's talking about an anniversary of a passing then, which would be important to you. And he's also given the numbers 2 and 4. Now, I don't know if he's doing a crude mathematics skill of trying to give me the number 6, or if he's talking about 24 or the second of 4th. But numbers 2 and 4 are quite important, Lisa. Now, in order for me to give you the next part of the message, Lisa, I'll need you to verify that you understand who that communicator is. And then your question about did anyone hurt her or was it was an accident, I will ask that communicator to answer that question, and I may even draw a couple of cards. So I'll be waiting for Lisa to give me verification of that. While we're doing that, folks, I'm just getting my cards ready and I'm getting ready to answer that. I'm about to share some of my teachings as well. I'd also like you to think about continuing to share. So if you've not shared, please do so now. That'd be very much appreciated. I'm doing that too. I'm going on to my Facebook page. So Lisa recognises the communicator as her late husband. Thank you very much, Lisa, for that verification. Now we understand who the communicator is and you've recognised the evidence. I'll be asking him to give you a bit of a message. But I'm not a strong multitasker, Lisa, so I'm just completing the searching of this stream and the page. So yeah, for those of you on Facebook, just find this live stream. You'll be able to click on that and it's just as easy to then click share and that shares straight to your wall. If you want to share it to one of your pages, you can do that too. So Lisa, I'm being told by this communicator that recognizes that I've got her. Okay, I've got her. And I'm saying, are you talking about a daughter? Because Lisa, you've fed the medium. You always say don't feed the information to a medium, but you have fed that to me. And he says, I've got her. Okay. He is describing a woman with very light hair, strawberry blonde. I'm just okay. Thank you. Almost not quite a red hair. I know there's actually a profile picture. I don't know if that is you and your daughter, but that is what he's showing to me. And the person that he's put in my mind as saying he's got her looked very similar to the person in your profile picture. I don't know if that's you and the daughter and the daughter that lost, but this woman's got lighter hair than what I can see in that profile picture, almost like highlights. And he said, "I got her." I caught her. And as a result of her lifestyle and her decisions, she's ended up here in that place I call heaven, but prematurely. Okay. So he tells me that there's been okay, thank you. Fantastic amount of support for her this side. He's describing an element of trauma involved in her passing. Lisa, you'd understand why he's talking about trauma that she has gone through. And although she is now not anchored by her physical body, psychologically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. The trauma that she's gone through has been quite traumatic for her. And even in heaven, she's needed to go off and get some help. So he tells me that she is in a place, for want of a better word, some sort of hospital, seeing the right sort of doctors, and she is having help. Strawberry blonde. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that verification. He says to me that she got all the help that she needs right now, and she is recovering from that. Now, he tells me that her passing to the spirit world is in part as a result of a combination of her free will. Okay, her free will decisions. Yes, she takes personal responsibilities, lifestyle. Something about a lifestyle. There's something about where she was. She had made a decision to be there, and she had mixed feelings, mixed reservations about being there. There's a group of people that she's not familiar with. She knows at least one person in that group. She's effectively now in the wrong place at the wrong time, and she accepts responsibility for the fact that she made those decisions. But she's telling me there was a third. Okay, thank you. Is that her? Right. So this man is now introducing someone claiming to be a younger lady who is claiming to be related to you as family. She's given the letter M, Lisa, the letter M for Mike, for mother. I think the letter M would be important. And she is saying that she knows you and family, and she is calling out mum. I'm not sure if she is your daughter, but she's calling out mum. Now, as she talks to me, she says, yeah, I take responsibility for that. Where I was, I made the decision to be there. No one made me go, and I didn't know all of the people that are there. She is saying that as a result of her decisions, that's led to the end of her life. But she's telling me there was a third party involved, someone that she didn't necessarily know. She's giving me the sensation of speed, okay? And I'm fast, and I'm vivid, and I'm dynamic, and there's fast moving pieces. And she's almost showing to me like machinery, like cogs that are joining up and spinning very fast and then out of control. And then boom, she snapped her fingers and she just said, bang, crash, wallop, game over. My body was unable to support my personality. Now, Lisa, are you able to verify that information? And would that make sense in terms of what you know? It'd be important for me to have that confirmation. And I want to talk about the puzzle, the mystery you're trying to solve, and that there actually being two possible explanations. There's two scenarios that are being faced with, and she's saying that I have the key, and she's calling you mum. Okay, would you understand this, daughter in the spirit? She's calling you mum. You have the key, mum, to unlock both doors, to escape the current situation and to explore the art of what was possible in this scenario. It's like a scenario based, she's calling it like immersive training. Like you must have been going through the motions of understanding this. And what she says to me is that you have the key to both scenarios. Both scenarios that you are exploring are equally possible, because it's as a result of being in that place at that time and making a free will decision, her making a decision that's led to the end of her life, and someone else being involved. And I've got this element of speed. And it's like you do have the puzzle. I feel like the letter J is important. J for Juliet. Julie is the noise that I can hear in my head and my mind's eye. I've got help. He got me. He collected me. He picked me up. He caught me. I don't know if there was an element of a slip, trip, or a fall or something from height, but he caught me. Bang, crash, very fast. I left my body. I am aware and I am grateful for people that have tried to help me after my body went through that change that we now call death. She just said there was someone working on me. I've got someone looks like they're in uniform, dark uniform. I don't know if it's black, and I've got shiny sort of buttons in a center. I've got someone that was maybe even wearing a radio, and I've got them working on me with their hands. I don't know if they've tried to resuscitate me, but she tells me that there were people working with her. I wasn't on my own when this happened. Okay, so that, Lisa, is information that she's giving me. She's also talking about a telephone number, 58796. That the digits that she was just putting in my mind. If the name Joshua makes sense to you, the letter J was important. It was the noise that she was giving. The j. Josh could well fit, and you'd understand those numbers. She's given me something about, I don't know if it was linked to her telephone number or a message, a voicemail. I don't know if someone's been ringing her telephone number and it's been hitting a voicemail to listen to her voice. But she was giving me those digits, the numbers, and she was just talking about Sainsbury's. Get to the big Sainsbury's and have a walk round. I enjoyed an exploration of the big Sainsbury's, not the big Tesco. The big Tesco is okay. I like the big Sainsbury's. It really did make a difference. She's got a lovely sense of humour. She's making some fun there, and she's sending her love. He caught me. I'm okay. I'm gutted. I'm gutted that I've ended up here. I realised that this was an element of destiny not at play, and I take responsibility, as I know that there's someone that I've survived that takes responsibility for the decisions that they made on that afternoon, evening. Okay, Lisa, I do hope that makes sense. Sending lots of love and light. This man that was claiming to be your partner is also showing me his wedding ring figure. He's playing with my wedding ring now, and he's talking about she's got it. She must. You've got his jewelry. I believe sort of jewelry. I don't know if it's a signet ring as opposed to a wedding ring, but he's taken me to my things and my rings, and he's talking about you having them, Lisa. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Thank you for the verification so far, and thank you very much for verifying the evidence that we've come in. Now, folks, before I take the next question, and of course, if Lisa does come back, then I will come to that. I'm probably going to take. Thank you so much. Very welcome, Lisa. I'm probably going to take the next question from Serapidini. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Now, this little book called The Quiet Mind from White Eagle. Yeah, I'm going to answer that question about Catholicism, particularly as my children are being brought up both Catholic and spiritualist. So thank you for that question, Serendipity. Serendipity. I hope I pronounced that right. I just want to read from this book for a moment, folks. The Quiet Mind comes in response to many requests for a collection of White Eagle's sayings, chosen to give guidance to help with the problems and experiences of every day. The title is from White Eagle's own words in Grace Cook's book, Meditation. The secret of strength lies in the quiet mind. A passage from the same book emanates those qualities of soul revealed in the beautiful and perfect personality of the Master, qualities to which the disciple himself aspires on his own path towards mastership and provides the framework for the quiet mind. For the sayings fall into groups arranged around each of the qualities in turn, to help us to face with courage and wisdom those trials of every day, both great and small, which come to test us whether we ring true. The passage in question reads, if you can think of yourself as being all that you know you should be, constant, gentle, loving, and kind to every man, woman, and child, and to every circumstance in life, kind and tolerant in your attitude towards all conditions on earth. Above all, if you can conceive yourself as being completely calm in all conditions and all circumstances, quiet and yet strong to aid your to speak the right word, to take the right action, and so to become a tower of strength and light. If you can see yourself facing injustice and unkindness with a serene spirit, knowing that all things work out in time for good and that justice is always eventually triumphant, if you have the patience to await the process of the outworking of the will of God, if you can picture something becoming like this, you will have something of mastership. White Eagle speaks not from the remote height, but as one who himself trod this way when on earth. Through many, many lives, he speaks with authority, but with real and tender love and understanding, often with humour, always constructively, never critically. If we can follow where he leads, each one of us can lead from strength and comfort in tribulation. At most, we shall find perfect happiness. Let us never forget, however, that we do not walk alone. As for White Eagle says, if the veil could be drawn aside, you would indeed feel happy and thankful to know that by power and through the will of God, the spiritual brothers come close to help you an upwards climb. Try to feel the comforts of your warm hand clasp, their hand upon your shoulder, their understanding. Your spiritual teacher and guide knows your every aspiration, every difficulty that you endure. Your guide knows your innermost need and will comfort you and lead you into the green pastures and beside still waters. By your love, by your belief in God's love, your belief in love in itself, you can create the bridge across you which will come to you. Think of your master as being very natural, very loving, and simple. The more simple you are yourself, the nearer you will be to the realization of their nature. Their smile upon you, and often their eyes twinkle with tender humor. When you think of them, remember the twinkling eyes, the tender humor, and the wise understanding. All God seeks from you, his child, is the devotion of your heart. He wants your heart for God, your heart for all that is good. For God is love, and that he loveth God, and doth what God wills. To him all things are possible. Have patience and keep on working for God, for that divine. Now, there's a couple of sayings throughout the book which I will thread in. I'm just going to take a swig of water. Thank you, folks. Well, I took some water and hydrate. So, serendipity, thank you very much for your question. So, I'm born and raised spiritualist. I'm going to be 42 years old on the 29th of September, in case anyone wants to send me a birthday. And I appreciate I've broken one of the golden rules of cybersecurity by revealing my date of birth. But why was I doing that point? Yeah, 42 years spiritualist. My mum and dad, both ministers of religion within spiritualism. My dad from when I was very young, and my mum more recently. Um, Therefore, for me, spiritualism was very much a way of life. And throughout life, I've had different labels that I felt comfortable with. At times, I've called myself a Christian spiritualist. Sometimes I refer to me as spiritualist. But I'm a very proud spiritualist, medium, minister, and counsellor right now. And my children, I married a lady that was half Irish, half English. Her family have a strong background with Catholicism on the Irish side of the family. And I like to think that I'm as religious and as spiritual as all of them on a good day, even when they're attending Mass. But we practice our religion in different ways. I find nothing incompatible from spiritualist point of view in Catholicism and vice versa. And indeed, 70% of the core teachings of Christianity and Catholicism are beautiful teachings. Some of the smaller details, some of the finer print, we beg to differ. And I think it's very likely that some of the incredible leadership from Jesus Christ, was misinterpreted. So many of the stories from the Bible, so many of the teachings quoted from Jesus that I recognize as a master, as a coach, as a leader, were written hundreds, if not thousands of years after he had actually walked this earth as Jesus in that incarnation. So I think it's quite possible that we don't get it all right, even when we quote Jesus. So, taking that all into account, Catholicism and Jesus talk about mediumship. They talk about the gifts of mediumship, the gifts of spiritualism. There's elements of Roman Catholicism and Church of England, Christianity, Protestant, that talk about the fact that perhaps you shouldn't disturb the deaf and you shouldn't use a medium because mediums are disturbing the deaf. Well, as a spiritualist, we have evidence of life after that change we call death that says we're not disturbing anyone. I gave a caveat at the very beginning of this show that says I'm not a DJ. I can't take requests. They're your communicators. If they don't want to communicate, they won't. We are not summoning them. They are around us all the time. They visit us from that place they call heaven. They keep an eye on us. They watch over us. They guide us. They feel our love in the same way they felt it while they were alive. And now they themselves, as a purer energy, reside in that place they call heaven. Both Catholicism and spiritualism talk about a place that we go to after that change called death. That place we call heaven. And in spiritualists, we practice that as well. So please don't feel guilty. I think that when we talk about Jesus in Catholicism, and my eldest son, who's now 9, went through his first Holy Communion, which you'll be very familiar with. I went to a lot of his Holy Communion classes as a parent. My wife, as Catholic parent, went to the vast majority of them, but I didn't want to make sure. Wanted to make sure that we were encouraging. And I had some fantastic conversations with the ministers of religion and some of the other lay preachers in that church. And actually, we had a brilliant conversation about Jesus' crucifixion. And he asked what Jesus was trying to say. I said, Jesus was proving life after death. And they couldn't disagree with that. I was married in a Catholic church, and I'm a spiritualist. I've not burnt at the stake, or burnt in hell, or burnt into ashes. So I think all of it is absolutely compatible. My own personal belief and understanding of God is that God is not a figurehead. God is the sum total of absolutely everything. For all energy, and God is responsible for energy, and then God is the word I use to describe the sum total of all of it. Some people see God as leader one, as a figurehead. Absolutely entitled to do that. When I pray, I do pray to God. I talk about a father God, or a mother God, or a mother earth and a father God, about God being the great architect of the universe, the grand geometrician of the universe. Lots of different names and labels. And I think that God, as a sum total of that, reflects to all of it. So all of it is compatible. And I think with respect, we can respect each other's faith and belief, which is very private. And we can then go on to look at the different descriptions and names. Now, Jesus, from a Christian point of view, talks about being the Son of God. I believe that we're all the children of God, because if God is the sum total for everything, and God is therefore the creating force, the divine energy force behind everything, then Jesus was indeed the Son of God, but makes us all the children of God. Some elements of Christianity will go on to say, but Jesus said he was the only Son of God. I was like, did he say that? Did he? Because he was possibly misquoted, because by the time it was written, 100 years after he died, did they get that right? Because didn't Jesus also come up with quite a famous prayer within Catholicism that says, "Oh God, our Father who art in heaven"? So he wasn't saying my Father there. He used to talk about God being his Father, because I think that God was an interesting conception. And I think if you think about early humans 2000 years ago, to try and get the understanding of what is energy, is it possible that Jesus came up with a cunning plan that God was indeed very much like a father, and in the same way that God, as our father, creates us, that God, there's this energy force that creates us, because we know that energy can't truly be created. It can be changed. It can't really be destroyed, but it can be changed. Is it possible that God is that God force, that divine force, the force behind it all? And perhaps Jesus just had a cunning plan in order to help us understand the meaning of God. So, yeah, please don't feel guilty. There are lots of people that come into our church that recognize themselves as Catholics. My wife being one of them. She's been with me 25 years, would still consider herself a Catholic. She's trained to be an accredited spiritual healer at our spiritualist church. She runs a soft play for under fives at that Hatbridge Spiritualist Church, our sister church as well. And she would still label herself as a Catholic. When it comes to labeling in the census, our children are both spiritualist Catholic and Catholic spiritualists. We're giving them both opportunities. So I've taken your question, and I've hopefully identified some of the things that agree. We both agree in the power of prayer. We believe in the gifts of mediumship and the gifts of healing. We talk about principles within spiritualism, and we also talk about the opportunities to love unconditionally. And lots of Christianity, including my son's Catholic school, they talk about love, and they talk about deeds, and they say, how does love know itself? Love knows itself through service and deed. And as spiritualists, we talk about love being one of the most powerful things in the universe. So really good question. I hope that's answered that for you. I'm going to share one more quote from The Quiet Mind, and then I'm going to answer Marion Thomas's question. The master soul is constant. In the mind of God dwells the picture of the perfect man, his son, Christ, you. To God, you are not the weak and erring child of earth. God holds you ever in his thoughts as the perfect form, the Christ man, created his own image. Now, isn't that interesting? If I'd done a great lesson plan for this show, I would have known that was the first thing I was going to read. But my philosophy team, my spiritual advisors, they always have a cunning plan. They do the lesson plans. And actually, that's the first thing I've just read. And that takes that a little bit further from that concept that Christ man created in his own image, as in we're all the image of God. Therefore, we're all children of God. Yeah, lovely. I really like that. It talks about help from above, and then I'm going to answer Mary's question. If you will be steadfast on the path to which your feet have been guided, you will find the treasure of life, a never-ending stream of help and healing and happiness. We, your brothers and guides, are on the road by your side. Not one of you stands alone. You have only to ask in simple trust, and we shall receive. Whatever you need, it shall be supplied. I like that. Thank you very much, Quiet Mind. Right. Marion Thomas says, I work in palliative care and I often feel like I'm used as a messenger. It can be exhausting. I'm not always attuned to the signs of the spiritual crossroad until after it happens, and then I reflect. I see signs that were there. Is there any way I can manage this better? Sometimes I feel like the energy is ungood. I hope it's better. Yes, it makes absolute sense. And Marion, we talk about angels walking amongst us on earth, and I put you in that light worker camp. So thank you very much for your service and to show that unconditional love with what might otherwise start as strangers, but I'm sure end as friends. Well done you for being involved in that type of service. So yes, it's absolutely possible. So we are all able to work with the gifts of mediumship. We're all able to attune to that energy. And of course, like a taxi, it's important to let everyone know when we are on duty or off duty. So as a medium, one of the first things I ever learned to do was to close myself down. So imagining yourselves then as a vessel, there we are driving around, and if you're in London or in New York, you think about the black taxi of London or the yellow taxi of New York. To know that that cab is available, the light comes on, green light. So I think that when we are working with spirit energy, we can telegraph that. We can open ourselves up, either like a rose, slowly open its petals, about walking or emerging through a sequence of lights, or very simply, I'm in my taxi, boom, I am open, I am ready for action, I am on duty. And then we have to go through that motions of closing ourselves down. So at the end of the night, I close the rose petals, I turn off the light on the taxi, switch off the lighthouse, disappear back into the light, cocoon myself within that shell. That's a very sort of quick, fast track way of opening and closing. Now, people that work in service like Marion will find that as the nature of their service goes on, they are naturally opening themselves up. I go away for a spiritual psychic weekend retreat. I'm almost open the entire time because of the types of people I'm working when I'm working in this show, and I go through a concept of opening up and working with my guides. So the important thing to Marion is, if you believe in a supreme being or beings, then committing yourself through affirmation and prayer, asking for that protection and to be grounded. From a physical or a psychic point of view, recognizing that all of that spirit energy exists. In order to be guarded, you can imagine a version of yourself inside your mind's eye. And in the same way, Marion, you use personal protective equipment at work. Imagine putting on those gloves on your hand, surgical gloves, maybe a surgical mask or a helmet, a bike helmet or a beekeeper suit that protects us. Do that physical side inside your mind's eye to let yourself know that you are protected and that you are guarded, and that you will give that service unconditionally in that sense of love, but that sometimes you don't want to absorb this. But like a sponge, Marion, recognize that if you do absorb some of this, give it back to the universe or give it back to God and say, thank you for that opportunity. I now give it all back, squeeze the sponge out, take yourselves off duty. So yeah, really great question, Marion. I do hope that that helps. The next thing I'm going to share, folks, is activity in God. To love is to live in God. Loving is activity in God. So that every thought and every action is in God, not in the world. When a man loves, he no longer responds to the vibrations of destruction and death, but to those of the more abundant life. Focus your heart and mind on God, the one sustenance, the great sustaining power of mankind can receive is strength from God. If you are sick in the body, weary in the mind, despondent and hopeless, turn your thoughts away from yourself. Turn your thoughts and your prayers and praise to God. Focus your whole heart and mind upon God. Never waver, never falter. Hold fast to the belief in the great white spirit, and in God's light, you will find that every need of your life will be met. So there's some words there from the White Eagle Guide via the Quiet Mind. And he uses the word God quite a lot, in the same way that if we were describing lots of animals, we call it the herd. If we were describing lots of fish, we call it the school. I think God can be used as a word, and I do use that word when I pray to describe everything. The force. Marion says there was a great understanding regarding opening and closing myself. I found myself doing this through prayer every day and asking for the strength and courage. God bless you, Marion, for thinking about that. We count our blessings to have people like you. Lisa says, I needed this. Lisa, you are very welcome, and I'm glad that all made sense to you. It's very much appreciated. Marion, I will just draw a card for you. I'm saying, and I've drawn the card of Mother. Okay, this is my medieval deck. This is number 14. 14 could be significant to you. But as I draw the card Mother, the first thing I think about is feminine energy. I also think about the nurturer. And I think about everything that you're doing, and that will be very, very true in describing you sort of as that mother figure. Nurturing, caring, sustaining energy, female, compassion, protection. And I do believe there is an element of us being able to choose our incarnation, to choose a possible pathway that we may tread. And I do believe, Marion, there is a likelihood that you have chose a life of service. And this card is confirmation around that energy that you're in the right place to add maximum impact and maximum value. You are maximizing the opportunity to show people what unconditional love is and reducing the likelihood of them feeling unloved in that final chapter of their lives. So, Mary, that card was for you. Just going to blow my nose, folks, on mute. Sorry about that, folks. I do apologise for the technical problems that my body, aka the vessel for this spirit soul, Ashley Robinson, today is going through. Jody Jenkins, lovely question there. Does it make a difference if you imagine as a third person in your meditation rather than as a first person envisioning? Great question. One of my great friends, Vari Kent, who now resides in the spirit world, used to talk about the fact from a spiritual and psychic protection point of view, it was actually better to imagine a third person in the meditation, because in the unlikely event, but possible event of any sort of psychic attack, or if you are an empath and you're picking up the energy of people, then actually the third person is actually what gets attacked as opposed to your physical self. So whatever works for you is possible, Jody. I'll draw a card for you at the moment. Producer Richard was just flashing up the screen. I think they were saying that that card made sense. Yes, thank you for that card. I'm a social worker in the health field, so it makes a lot of sense. Brilliant, Marin. Thank you very much for that. Card I draw for you, Jody, is that of the Tower. Love this card. I've been seeing it a lot in a lot of my readings. Not the card itself, but the actual tower, because I want to elevate you into a place of safety. And in doing so, I want to help you to see the big picture. And in seeing the big picture, Jody, I want to talk about the fact that you are managing all of your opportunities. And it's really important that we get you to explore the art of now what's possible as you can see those opportunities coming for you. There's an element of achievement that you've already gained. I think it's really important that I talk about that, and that actually the achievement you've just done, Jody, you've done that in the face of adversity. And when I see this card, it often reflects that unconscious mind, or sort of like your subconscious. I was talking to someone at work today about an unconscious bias, but your unconscious mind is like reacting to certain things that are going on. So the achievement that you've just gained in the face of adversity, sometimes this could be an element of arrogance in the arrogant conscious mind, representing the unconscious mind beneath. Now, there's an element, I think, there about you getting to know the person within. Now, I love playing rugby, and I talk about the fact that there is a little beast that lives inside me. I'm a very spiritual person, but there's a little beast that lives inside most of us, and I have to let that beast out the cage. And when I play rugby, physically, I'm able to let that beast get a taste of what it needs, and then that beast goes back into the cage and it lays quite dormant. Now, I think, Jody, there's an element of you achieving a greater understanding and self-awareness of yourself. And in doing so, I want to encourage you that this is about you seeing the big picture. And now you are at the top of the tower. You can see all of the opportunities around you. And I want to encourage you to explore the art of the possible. But thank you for the question. And I hope that all makes sense to you. Keep the questions coming, folks. We're down to the last sort of 15-20 minutes of the show. Hope you're enjoying this so far. If you are enjoying it, please make sure that you like this on YouTube, on Facebook, give us a heart, give us the thumbs up. If I say something deliberately funny and you find it funny, then make sure that you're laughing with us too. Tracy says, please, could you suggest a strong technique to shield and strengthen the aura? Thank you for the reading, Tracy. Yes, so everything we think about amplifying in this 3D physical world, you could talk about doing that. So if you want to strengthen the aura, and there's different ways to do it. So we just talked about Jesus earlier on. They used to say that you could, if you were attuned, you could see the aura of Jesus, or people like Buddha and Gandhi. You could see it for miles and miles and miles. So there's an element of projecting. And if you think about like peacocking, the feathers, I don't know why I'm doing it with my hands. The idea of this peacock, the feather. 1 second, I'm just going to. Really sorry about that. Then that projection, standing to attention, the difference of the chin up, high, looking proud, or looking through your eyebrows, almost like you're getting ready for a scrum and looking through. All of that aforementioned positive telegraphing upwards versus looking through us, bracing for impact, defending ourselves. All of that physical stuff we can do with our body, we can do within our mind's eye, and it can both strengthen and shield. Now, one of the easiest things that I find when I'm looking to shield myself, I think about what it is I'm trying to shield. Now, because I am empathic and I pick up on a lot of sensitive things, a lot of the time I just don't want to feel everyone's feelings all of the time. Um, so for me, the beekeeper's suit works well. I put on the whole beekeeper's suit, the head goes over the top, and that just shields me. One of the most powerful shields I associate with in my sort of fantasy world is that of Captain America's shield. So I often think about when I go out to so-called haunted houses or people want me to investigate paranormal activity in their house, I actually go equipped with Captain America's shield on my arm, tuck in underneath, and I walk into a property sometimes with that in my mind's eye. So whatever you associate, Tracy, with strength, with making strength and aura, then use that within your mind's eye to do it. And then think really clearly about what it is you want to do. So when I'm lost, or when I should say when one of my kids are lost, I'm sort of trying to remotely view where they might be, and I'm trying to use their aura like a beacon. And I'm sort of communicating with them. I have no idea whether or not any of this ever works, but I'm trying to communicate with them remotely, and I'm trying to use their aura like a beacon. And I've often spoke about them, about going back, practical stuff you do as a parent, go back to this site. This is our meeting point. This is where we'd go and take a picture of what they are. But there's an element of me strengthening my aura field. Now, my nan, God bless her, now resides in heaven, Nanny Hazel, used to have a whistle. We've affectionately nicknamed it as the Robinson whistle, and it sounds very much like a bird sort of singing. Occasionally, when we're out in the woods, my kids would go, "Look, Dad, they're doing the Robinson whistle. Maybe it's Nan from heaven," and I love that. I don't think that's always true. I think my nan probably stole it from the birds before the birds repeated it from my nan. But I love the fact that it's absolutely possible. So that's another way of me extending my aura, that whistle. My son Noah, who's only 6, can't whistle, but he can make the noise. He mimics the noise, but he often feels me whistling because it's all about that attention. So you said that sounds powerful way to shield and strengthen. You're very welcome. So Tracy, I'm going to draw a card for you, and it's the card of fortune. Your fortune awaits you. There you go. Try and get that close. Look, there you are, Tracy. Ascending the winding staircase. Now, there is a path of progression open to all of us, both in this life and the more abundant life. And actually, I've just been inspired to read from my book again. So let's hope this makes sense and it is in good connection. Be true. This is the essence of the spiritual life. The note of the spirit is sounded on the higher planes, and the knocks you receive in everyday life are to test you, whether you can ring true. To ring true, you must always sound the notes of God or good, which is within you. So I do think that was connected. And I've got a communicator with me, Tracy. This communicator is a lady. She's a grandmother. She was also a mother. She's talking about being a great grandmother now. She's connected on your dad's side of the family. There is the letter F for Foxtrot, Fred, is there like on head, and I've got an anniversary over the summer, August. I think I'm right in August because I'm not quite into autumn, into September. There, a birthday, Tracy, that you'd understand. And this man was directing me to read from the book. It will make sense. And we talk about the fortune. We talk about the fact that you are on this upwards rising trajectory, Tracy. But it's hard work. And I'm here to remind you, this card is here to remind you that you've not quite made it yet, and you can't even see the finish line, but you are heading in the right direction. Feel that elastic pull in your instinct and intuition to keep on keeping on, one step at a time, one day at a time. He gives you, this communicator, a lantern, so you may see what's in front of you, but importantly, he tells you to look over your shoulder, Tracy. Look how far you've already come. Keep on keeping on. And what awaits for you at the top of that staircase is your fortune. It's the answers you've been seeking, and you are seeking for that which has been lost. So there's an element of you refinding yourself and you working towards that goals. Keep on keeping on. Florence Sinan, I'm glad that makes sense to you. Tracy, birthday September. My birthday's September 29th. I'm a Libra, and I want you before that Libra energy, though, Tracy, because I felt like I was out of the summer, but not quite in autumn yet. I don't know enough about science. We talked about Kate May, Richard and I, a good friend of mine, a fantastic astrologist, does a very great job of the tarot. She'd know straight away about this stuff. Is it around the 22nd? So I want before the 22nd. That would make sense of that anniversary of the birthday. I don't think I'm in that Libra energy yet, the scales. Thank you, Tracy. I hope that all makes sense, and for verifying that you understood who the communicator is and you've understood the message. Lovely. We don't need to feed the ego as such, but there's an element of you needing enough ego to get on live and to do this, or to get up on platform to serve a church for the first time, to sit in circle. I find the human verification really important part of knowing that this all makes sense, and it makes sense to you. So thank you very much, Tracy. Laura Grant says, I'm frustrated. I'm sorry about that, Laura. I get visitation and messages from spirit only when I sleep. How can I change it so I can get message when I'm awake? I even get messages to give other people, but again, only when I'm asleep. Advice, please. Ooh, that's really interesting. So in our sleep state, we kind of surrender most of the 3D world. So we rely so much, for those of us that have the gift of sight, we rely on our sight. It's like our primary sense of survival. When you switch that off and you can have a bit of a rest, and your brain can start to rest, you're not listening, you're not hearing, and your mind, if you like, your personality, it can wander, it can astro travel, it can also be influenced. We go into a space of learning and development. When you get those vivid impressions, indeed it's the spirit world. So I've got a communicator with me, Laura. There's a woman. This woman claims to know you. She says she's family, she's an auntie, she's a sister, she was also a mother, but I feel like this link to you would be something to do with the sister and the auntie. Ethel, I was just hearing, I don't know if it's that because it Aunt Ethel, but I've got E, the letter E for echo. Is the noise I can hear. I've got a cancerous type condition with this lady, Laura, that claims to know you as a family. And she was telling me that, yes, you've been vividly influenced in your sleep because we found it easier. She's encouraging you to put a notebook next to your bed. She says that some of your writing will be automated. So I know you're able to write this down, Laura, when you wake up, but she says that you are capable of automatic and automated writing, and you'd be able to write some of this down. You'd be able to ask questions like this on your notepad, and then you would find that you've answered them in your sleep. Now, a lot of it is about quietening the mind, she says to me. You needed to blank the canvas. You've got so much on your mind, Laura, she just said. There's an energy bill or something else you got to pay, the shopping you got to do, something you missed on the last shop, someone's birthday card. All of these things are occupying your mind and your mind's eye. She says you need to get to a point, like in your sleep state, you can totally surrender. You can give everything back to the universe. Everything you've got in your mind, as in a meditation state. She's just saying, write them down so you don't lose them, because I know you're worried about forgetting to do them, and then work on an activity to clear that mind. And when you clear that mind, put the canvas, a blank artist canvas, and then we will be able to influence that, and we'll start to influence you more in that deep meditative state. We need you almost at the point of sleep. Feel like you're going to need to go on quite a deep meditation, and I believe, like me, you might struggle with those guided meditations to stay with them. Laura, thank you for giving me the confirmation that it's your sister, that you verify that you understand that, and you understand that it's guided meditation. So I struggle, and I've been meditating on and off since I was about 14, folks. I just really struggle. So they're telling me that we need to get you into quite a deep meditative state, which is why we're influencing you in that dream state. And they're absolutely capable of doing it. Just keep practicing. We want you to meditate every night before you go to sleep. This will help with your sleeping. We don't want to hijack all of your sleep. Meditate when you can if you try and get up a little bit earlier. Come off the phone, they just said, Laura. Come off your phone. But you're using your phone just before you go to sleep. You need to be winding down. I'm looking at 90 to 120 minutes before you sleep. No devices. If you're going to listen to something, make it a story. Rest your eyes and start to make space for these vivid messages. Thank you. You're very, very welcome, Laura. Okay, folks, I'm going to share another talk. Oh, I love the synchronicity tonight. Ralph Steadman, who guides me through my philosophy, folks, he is the master of the lesson planning. So he always knows what's coming on next, and he influenced me in that last message talk about keeping on, keeping on. And the next, I just turned the page and it's called Keep On Keeping On. Right. How often have we said, keep on keeping on? This means constantly pulling yourself up to the mark. It means a constant contact with your higher self, a putting aside of the claims of the lower self, and continual joyous giving. Giving to God, to mankind. You are a spirit first and a body last. Let your spirit so shine before men so they may see their Christ in you. So I think that will make sense to all of you. But the last message, I think there's an element of that being lined up too. Line Pellerin says, I have a conflict between my spiritual life and my concrete life. So do I. So do I. If you've got any solutions, I'd love you to answer that for me. I talk a much better game than I practice, folks. I am struggling and I'm overwhelmed at times getting the balance right. Richard, producer, this evening actually was giving me a much needed pep talk about priorities. We have to prioritize. You know, I've got a written list of priorities which are important to me, and I struggle to act on those. But we need to. We need to live the life we preach. We need to live the life we talk about, and we need to make sure that priorities. We are here on planet Earth, the training planet, to live our lives, to be loved, to love unconditionally, to be loved unconditionally, to do things we love with people that we love for fun, in pursuit of happiness. That's the major objective for all of us. And in terms of conflict, it's because we're trying to do so many things all at the same time. We need to choose one thing we're going to accomplish. We need to align that with our priorities. And if there are 10 things, and I'm going to keep it to 10 because I've got a very basic 1999 GCSE grade C in mathematics, and my mental arithmetic's not great. But I'm actually going to paraphrase a conversation I had with someone at work today. Mustow, Mustow, which is an agile project management term. If we've got 10 things to do, the triangle of compromise line will mean that we're never going to do everything we want on time, on budget, and to the top quality. Now, in our life, we want everything to be top quality, which means we won't get it all done on time or budget. Now, this isn't a project, this is your life. And what that sometimes means is if we want a fantastic quality product of our life, and we're doing it right now, we won't always have the money for it. If we have the money for it, we won't always have the time to do all the things at the same time, the time to do more than one thing. So recognize there is this triangle of compromise, and that one of the three things, time, money, and quality, that you're going to have to compromise on one of those things. If you want it on time and money, it won't be good quality. So compromise on time and money is my suggestion for the quality product, and then look to balance your life. If you've got 10 things that you need to get done tomorrow, prioritize the top two. They're the top two things you must get done, and you will get done. You will accomplish them. Then there's probably 2, 3, or even 4 things that should be done. They should be done by the end of the day, and you're going to focus all of your priorities on that, which leaves the last 5 things. 1 or 2 things you could do. If you've done all the things you must and should do, there's 1 or 2 things you could do, but there's 2 or 3 things, Line, that just won't get done tomorrow, and we'll either put them off for another day or another week. And you'll find if you must go the element of priorities, and I know that was a crash course in agile project management, but I think it's appropriate to this, that still makes sense. Line, you say that's interesting. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to draw a card for you. This card is the body. Number 6. And here, if you look at this, you've got a real zoomed in under the microscope, you see the veins. And behind the picture, you can see the veins as well. This is all about the interface between the bodies. This is about your body, and it's about the interface with your body and your mind, your spiritual self, your emotional self, your physical self. Recognizing that physical health and mental health has an interface. Your individual, you at the center of your body, at the center of your universe, I want to surround you by energy and that life force. I feel that's really, really powerful for you right now. I feel that there is a need for absent healing, that you've been asking for absent healing, that absent healing is finding it's your way. And folks, if you do believe in that power of prayer, send me some absent healing tonight, as I'm not feeling, say, 100%. I've managed to get through the show. But the body striped of that outer layers, so we see all the veins and the muscles on a squared background of the enlarged veins, and it's in all the shades of red and blue, red and blue, blue and red, red and blue, blue and red. For those colors in sequence, out of sequence is what I'm picking up right now. Now, the card initially stands for your physical makeup. We spoke about your physical health and the interface, indicating perhaps health and bodily well-being, or lack of it. Now, we spoke about absent healing and the need for it, but this card also implies that our rhythms of our body, which govern our health and happiness, together with the meridians. So this is all about balance. This is all about, and I think that links into your question actually, getting it all listened. Prioritize you. And I'm seeing the oxygen mask on an aeroplane. This isn't a premonition if you're about to fly the plane. This is a reminder that you've got to invest in you first. In the unlikely event of you being on an aeroplane and they need to do oxygen masks to repressurize the cabin, what do we say to people? Get your mask on first, before you help the person next to you or someone more vulnerable. And now's the time to invest in you, mind, body, and soul. And that was your message. Folks, this hour has flown by. I've been absolutely thrilled to be here. I'm genuinely feeling a lot better. I know I've had to go on mute a couple of times for a cough and a sneeze and everything in between. But I have loved being here with you, this wonderful congregation online tonight. If you're on Facebook, perhaps head over to the SPTV fan page and continue to talk to fans. Bear in mind that SPTV and our hosts will never contact you direct. We'll never be offering you private readings. We certainly will be asking you for any money. You have now been taught to be cautious, so be very careful. So everybody says, Ash, really good book I've got. It's called Living Buddha, Living Christ. It talks a lot about being tolerant of others' beliefs. It's helped me appreciate Christianity. Thank you very much for that tip for everybody. And on that tip, folks, good night and God bless to you all. Take care.